The crack of breaking bone echoed across the empty parking lot. Blood splattered onto hot Texas asphalt, spreading like spilled paint under the afternoon sun. Savannah Brooks lay motionless on the ground, her face a crimson mask. Blonde hair fanned out like a broken halo. Three figures towered above her unconscious body, their shadows stretching long in the fading light. "Oh my God, is she dead?" Connor. Davis stepped back, his linebacker frame suddenly shaking. The 6'2" athlete who'd terrorized freshmen for 3 years looked ready to vomit. "Shut up," Tyler Morrison hissed, flexing his right knee, the one that had just connected with Savannah's face. "She's breathing. See?" He pointed at the slight rise and fall of her chest. "Let's go. Practice started 10 minutes ago." Jake Miller stared at the growing pool of blood. "Dude, we can't just leave her. I said, let's go!" Tyler's voice cracked with something between authority and panic. The star basketball player, golden boy of Westfield High, son of the mayor, had just crossed a line he couldn't uncross. She had it coming. Nobody embarrasses Tyler Morrison. They ran, their expensive sneakers slapped against pavement, leaving Savannah Brooks alone with her blood and the setting sun. What they didn't know, what nobody at Westfield High knew, was that they'd just made the biggest mistake of their lives. Because Savannah Brooks wasn't just the new quiet girl who'd rejected Tyler Morrison in front of the entire school. She was something else entirely, something dangerous, something that had been hiding for 8 long years, 3 hours earlier. The day had started like any other at Westfield High School. 400 students crammed into outdated hallways, lockers slamming, gossip flowing faster than the broken water fountain near the gym. But today felt different. Today had an electric charge in the air, like the moment before lightning strikes. Savannah Brooks stood at her locker, methodically organizing textbooks, 5'4", honey blonde hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She looked like any other 17-year-old girl. Looked being the operative word. Underneath her oversized hoodie, muscles coiled with the memory of 8 years of training. Her knuckles, hidden in her sleeves, bore the faded scars of countless hours hitting heavy bags. But nobody needed to know that. Nobody ever needed to know that. Stay invisible, graduate, move on. She whispered her mantra, the same words she'd repeated at 17 different schools over the past 10 years. Military kids knew the drill. New school, new identity, new chance to be nobody special. And Savannah Brooks was very, very good at being nobody special. "Yo, check it out!" Jake Miller elbowed Connor Davis as they watched Tyler Morrison stride down the hallway. "T-Money's got that look." "What look?" Connor grunted, though he already knew. "The hunting look. Some girl's about to get the full Morrison treatment." Tyler Morrison moved through Westfield High like he owned it. Because, essentially, he did. 6'1", with the kind of jawline that belonged on magazine covers and a jump shot that had college scouts drooling. Tyler was Westfield royalty. His father was the mayor. His mother ran the country club, and his family name was on half the buildings in town. When Tyler wanted something, Tyler got it. It was a law of nature in this small Texas town, as certain as the sun rising in the east. Which is why what happened next shocked everyone. The cafeteria at lunch was Tyler's kingdom. 400 students eating mystery meat and tater tots, but arranged in a careful hierarchy with Tyler's table at the center. The basketball team's table. The table where futures were decided and reputations were made or destroyed with a single word from the king. Savannah sat alone at a corner table, reading a worn paperback and picking at a salad. She'd chosen the spot carefully, back to the wall. Clear view of all exits, far from the social spotlight. 3 days at Westfield, and she'd managed to stay completely invisible. Just 4 more months until graduation. 4 more months until… Hey, beautiful. The cafeteria noise dimmed like someone had turned down the volume. Savannah looked up to find Tyler Morrison standing over her table. His signature smirk in full display. Behind him, Jake and Connor flanked him like bodyguards, grinning at the show about to unfold. "Mind if I sit?" Tyler didn't wait for an answer, sliding into the seat across from her with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no. "I'm Tyler Morrison, but you probably already knew that." Savannah carefully bookmarked her page. "Can I help you with something?" "Actually, yeah." Tyler leaned forward, cologne so strong it made her eyes water. "Friday night, you and me. I'll pick you up at 7. Take you somewhere nice. What do you say?" The cafeteria had gone completely silent now. 400 students holding their breath. Phones already out to record whatever happened next. Everyone knew the script. Tyler asks. Girl says yes, they date for a few weeks until he gets bored. Then he moves on to the next conquest. It was the Westfield Highway. Savannah met his eyes calmly. "Thanks, but I don't date." The silence shattered into gasps and nervous giggles. Someone actually dropped their tray, the crash echoing like thunder. Tyler's smile froze on his face, becoming something plastic and dangerous. "I'm sorry." "What?" He laughed, but it sounded forced. "I don't think you understood. I'm asking you out. Me. Tyler Morrison." "I understood." Savannah picked up her book again. "The answer is still no. I don't date." "You don't?" Tyler's face was turning red now, a flush creeping up from his collar. He glanced around at the hundreds of eyes watching, at the phones recording, at his teammates snickering. "Nobody says no to me." Apparently, someone just did. Savannah turned a page in her book, dismissing him completely. Tyler stood so fast, his chair screeched against the floor. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is." She didn't even look up. He stormed out, Jake and Connor scrambling to follow. The cafeteria exploded into chaos the moment the doors slammed shut. But Savannah just kept reading, even as her hands trembled slightly under the table. She'd just painted a target on her back, and she knew it. But backing down wasn't an option. It never had been. What followed was a masterclass in systematic harassment. Tyler Morrison might have been a spoiled rich kid, but he was smart. Smart enough to know that in 2024, you couldn't just openly attack someone. You had to be subtle. You had to make it look like accidents, like jokes, like the victim was overreacting. It started small. Jake would bump into her in the hallways, sending her books flying. "Oh, sorry, didn't see you there." Connor would accidentally spill drinks near her locker. "My bad." Butterfingers, other students, sensing which way the wind was blowing, joined in. Her locker was vandalized with increasingly creative insults. A fake Instagram account appeared overnight, photoshopping her face onto inappropriate images. But the bathroom incident was when things escalated. Savannah had waited until 4th period to use the restroom, hoping to avoid the crowds. The girls' bathroom near the science wing was usually empty during class. She should have known better, should have recognized the trap. The moment she entered a stall, she heard the door slam and the distinctive click of a lock. Then came the giggling. "Ice bucket challenge, bitch!" Tyler's voice echoed off the tiles. Before she could react, freezing water cascaded from above, gallons of it. So cold, it knocked the breath from her lungs. The recording started immediately. She could hear the phones, the laughter, the cruel joy in their voices. That's what you get for thinking you're too good for Tyler Morrison. Savannah stood in the stall, soaked to the bone, water dripping from her hair, her hands clenched into fists, muscle memory from years of training begging to be unleashed. She could break down the door, could take them all down in seconds, but her father's voice echoed in her head, "Only if your life is in danger, baby girl, only then." So she waited until they got bored and left, waited until a janitor finally unlocked the door 45 minutes later, walked through the hallways soaking wet, while hundreds of students laughed and pointed and recorded. "Boys will be boys, dear." The counselor hadn't even looked up from her computer when Savannah reported the incident. "I'm sure they didn't mean any harm. They locked me in a bathroom and poured water on me. That's assault. Now, let's not use such dramatic language." Mrs. Patterson finally glanced up, her smile condescending. "Tyler Morrison is our star athlete. I'm sure this is all just a misunderstanding. Perhaps if you tried to fit in better." Savannah left the office with her jaw clenched so tight her teeth hurt. The system wasn't going to help her. It never did. Tyler Morrison owned this school, and everyone knew it. The pep rally was worse. Friday afternoon, the entire school crammed into the gym for the mandatory assembly before the big game. Savannah tried to skip it, but attendance was taken at the door. She found a seat in the back corner of the bleachers, hood up, trying to disappear into the crowd. "Westfield Warriors!" Tyler's voice boomed through the microphone as he took center court. The crowd erupted in cheers. "Before we destroy Central tonight, I want to give a special shout-out." Savannah's stomach dropped. "Savannah Brooks, where you at?" A spotlight found her immediately. Of course, Tyler had arranged that. 400 faces turned to stare at her. There she is, the only girl at Westfield High who thinks she's too good for the basketball team. Tyler's grin was sharp as broken glass. "What's wrong? Savannah? We're not good enough for you. Think you're better than us, small-town folks." The crowd was laughing now, but it was uncomfortable laughter, mean laughter, the kind that came from relief that they weren't the target. "In fact, I've got something special to share with everyone." Tyler pulled out his phone, connecting it to the gym's display system. "Our girl Savannah has a secret boyfriend." Text messages filled the giant screen. Fake messages, obviously, but convincing enough. David from Colorado, declaring his love, talking about their intimate moments, describing things that made Savannah's face burn with humiliation. "Can't wait to see you naked again, baby," Tyler read aloud in a mocking voice. "Man, Savannah, you're a real freak, aren't you?" she ran, for the first time in 8 years of training. 8 years of discipline. Savannah Brooks ran away. The laughter followed her down the hallway, out the doors, all the way to the empty parking lot, where she collapsed against her beat-up Honda Civic and tried to remember how to breathe. "Hey," a soft voice made her look up. Sarah Martinez stood there, looking concerned. Sarah was pretty, Latina, with kind eyes and a reputation for being one of the nice ones. "That was messed up. I'm sorry." "It's fine." Savannah wiped her eyes quickly, hating the weakness. "No, it's not." Sarah sat down beside her on the asphalt. "He did the same thing to me sophomore year. Made my life hell for 2 months because I wouldn't sleep with him after homecoming." "What happened?" "My parents pulled me out, homeschooled me for a semester. When I came back, he'd moved on to someone else. Sarah's laugh was bitter. The counselors, the principal, none of them did anything. Tyler Morrison is untouchable in this town. Not forever, Savannah said quietly. Something in her tone made Sarah look at her sharply. Don't do anything stupid. It's not worth it. Just keep your head down, graduate, and get out of this hellhole. But keeping her head down was getting harder. The texts started that weekend. Anonymous numbers, probably burner phones. You can't hide forever. Monday's going to be fun. Should have just said yes. Then Tyler's car started appearing everywhere she went. The grocery store, the gas station, even outside her house at night. He never did anything, just sat there in his black BMW, engine running, letting her know he was watching, letting her know he could get to her whenever he wanted. Her father was deployed in Afghanistan, had been for 6 months. Her mother worked double shifts at the hospital to make ends meet. Savannah was alone most of the time, and Tyler knew it. Thursday was when he made it clear this wasn't ending. She was at her locker after last period. Most students already gone for the day. The hallway was nearly empty when Tyler appeared, Jake and Connor flanking him like always. Savannah. Tyler's voice was different now, harder. The fake charm was gone, replaced by something darker. We need to talk. No, we don't. She tried to close her locker, but Jake slammed his hand against it, keeping it open. See? That's where you're wrong. Tyler stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne again, see the coldness in his eyes. You embarrassed me, in front of everyone. Twice. You embarrassed yourself, Connor laughed, but it sounded nervous. Even he could feel the shift in energy. The way Tyler's hands were clenching and unclenching at his sides. One more day, Tyler said quietly. You've got one more day to apologize, to make this right. Apologize for what? For not wanting to date you, for thinking you're better than me, for making me look weak. His face was inches from hers now. One more day to learn your place, or I'll teach it to you myself. Is that a threat? It's a promise. He smiled then, and it was the most terrifying thing she'd ever seen. Tomorrow after school. Don't try to run, we'll find you. They left her there, shaking not with fear but with the effort of restraint. Every instinct screamed at her to attack, to end this now. But her father's words held her back. Only if your life is in danger. Was her life in danger? Or was this just high school drama taken too far? Friday came too fast. The day passed in a blur of dread. Savannah went through the motions, classes, lunch alone, avoiding eye contact with everyone. The whole school seemed to know something was coming. Conversation stopped when she walked by. Teachers looked at her with pity, but said nothing. Sarah Martinez tried to warn her at lunch. Don't stay after school. My brother can drive you home right when the bell rings. It's okay. Savannah managed a smile. I can handle it. No, you don't understand. Tyler's been talking to the team. This isn't just harassment anymore. He's planning something bad. But running wasn't in Savannah's DNA. Not anymore. She'd run enough in her life. From school to school, state to state. Always the new kid. Always the outsider. Always keeping her skills hidden because normal teenagers didn't know 17 different ways to break an arm. The final bell rang at 3:15. Savannah packed her bag slowly, watching the other students rush out like water through a dam. Within minutes, the hallways were empty, except for the distant sounds of sports teams heading to practice. She took the back exit by the buses, hoping to avoid the main parking lot. The afternoon sun was brutal, casting long shadows across the empty bus lanes. Her car was just 50 yards away. 40. 30. "Hello, Savannah?" They materialized from behind the buses like ghosts. Tyler in the center, Jake to her left, Connor to her right. A perfect triangle, cutting off all escape routes. "I gave you a chance," Tyler said conversationally, rolling his shoulders like he was warming up for practice. "All you had to do was apologize. Say you were sorry for disrespecting me, but you just had to be stubborn. I'm leaving." Savannah tried to step around them, but Jake grabbed her left arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. A second later, Connor had her right arm. "No," Tyler said simply. "You're not." The parking lot was empty. No witnesses, no cameras. Tyler had done his homework. Just 4 teenagers and the blazing Texas sun. "Let go of me." Savannah's voice was steady, even as her heart raced. This was it. The line. They'd crossed it. "You embarrassed me." Tyler stepped closer, his 6'1" frame towering over her. "In front of everyone. Do you know what people are saying? That Tyler Morrison got rejected. That some nobody new girl thinks she's too good for me. Because I am too good for you." The slap came fast, Tyler's open palm connecting with her cheek hard enough to snap her head sideways. The sound echoed across the empty lot. "Wrong answer." His voice was soft, dangerous. "You know what we do to stuck-up bitches who don't know their place." Jake and Connor's grips tightened, holding her immobile. Savannah could break free. 8 years of Brazilian jiu-jitsu had taught her 20 different escapes from this position, but something held her back. Some last thread of her father's warning. "We teach them." Tyler backed up 2 steps, measuring the distance. "We show them exactly where they belong." She saw it coming in slow motion, the way he planted his back foot, the twist of his hips, the chamber of his knee. A Muay Thai fighter would have been proud of his form. Tyler Morrison had been taking lessons. The knee connected with her face with the force of a sledgehammer. Cartilage shattered. Blood exploded. And the world went white. Jake and Connor released her arms as she crumpled, her body hitting the asphalt hard. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard their voices. "Jesus Christ! Tyler, is she dead? She's breathing. Come on, we need to go. Practice started already. We can't just leave her." "Yes, we can. Let's go." Footsteps running away. A car door slamming. Then silence except for her own ragged breathing and the steady drip of blood onto hot pavement. Savannah Brooks lay there, face shattered, blood pooling beneath her head. The girl who'd hidden her true nature for 8 years, who'd endured 17 schools worth of bullying without ever fighting back, who'd promised her father she'd only use her skills if her life was in danger. Well, they'd just tried to kill her, and that changed everything. Her eyes fluttered open, staring at the darkening Texas sky through a haze of blood and pain. In that moment, a decision crystallized in her mind like ice forming on a winter lake. Tyler Morrison thought he'd won, thought he'd put the new girl in her place, thought this was over. He had no idea what he'd just unleashed. Blood had a taste. Copper and iron and something else. Something primal that awakened parts of the brain civilization had tried to bury. Savannah Brooks knew that taste intimately now, her mouth full of it as consciousness clawed its way back through the darkness. Her phone screen swam into focus. 5:47. She'd been unconscious for over 2 hours. The parking lot was empty now. The buses long gone. Just her broken body and the dried blood that had turned black under the Texas sun. Moving was agony. Her nose was definitely broken. Probably her orbital bone, too. Each breath sent lightning through her skull. But pain was just information. And Savannah had learned long ago how to file information away for later processing. She made it to her knees first, then her feet, swaying like a drunk. The school was still open. She could hear the distant sounds of basketball practice from the gym. They were still here, still playing their game like they hadn't just committed attempted murder in the parking lot. The bathroom mirror told the story in vivid detail. Her face was a horror show, nose twisted at an impossible angle, left eye swollen shut, blood caked in her hair. Anyone else would have called 911, would have gone to the hospital, filed police reports, let the system handle it. But Savannah Brooks wasn't anyone else. She turned on the cold water, watching pink swirls disappear down the drain. Each touch to her face brought fresh agony, but also clarity. They'd crossed the line. The one line her father had drawn in the sand 8 years ago. Listen to me, baby girl. She could see him so clearly, dressed in his Air Force blues, kneeling to meet her 9-year-old eyes. What I'm about to teach you is dangerous. It's not for showing off. It's not for winning arguments. It's for one thing only, saving your life. They'd just tried to take her life. Tyler's knee could have killed her, would have killed someone without her training, someone who didn't know how to turn their head at the last microsecond to avoid a crushed windpipe. The water ran clear, finally. Savannah looked at herself in the mirror, really looked, past the blood and swelling, past the carefully maintained facade of the quiet new girl, for the first time in 8 years. She let herself see what she really was, a weapon. She pulled off her blood-soaked hoodie, revealing the athletic tank underneath. Muscle rippled across her shoulders and arms, the product of thousands of hours in gyms across the country. Her hands, when she flexed them, showed the telltale scarring of someone who'd hit things, lots of things, very hard and very often. 13 different martial arts, her father had said. I want you to know them all. Karate for discipline, boxing for power, Muay Thai for devastation, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for when it goes to the ground, Krav Maga for when there are no rules. She'd been the youngest Colorado State youth MMA champion in history, 3 years running, from age 11 to 14. Then her father had made her stop competing. You're getting too good, he'd said. People will start asking questions. We need to keep you safe. Safe. She almost laughed, but her broken nose made it impossible. She'd been so focused on staying safe, on hiding, on being invisible, that she'd let 3 spoiled boys nearly kill her. No more. Savannah tied her hair back in a tight ponytail, each movement deliberate. She rolled her shoulders, feeling the familiar looseness that came before a fight. The pain was still there, but distant now, processed and compartmentalized. The hallways were empty as she made her way toward the gym. Her footsteps echoed differently now, not the shuffling of a victim, but the measured stride of a predator. She passed the trophy case and caught her reflection. Even with her face destroyed, something had changed. The sheep's clothing had finally fallen away. Basketball practice was winding down. She could hear Tyler's voice through the double doors, laughing about something. Probably bragging about what he'd done. Probably thinking he'd won. Savannah pushed open the doors. The sound echoed through the gym like a gunshot. 20 players turned to look, but she only had eyes for 3. Tyler was at half court, basketball in his hands. Jake was by the water fountain. Connor near the bleachers. Jesus Christ, someone whispered. Tyler's face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Shock, confusion, then something like fear before he masked it with bravado. Savannah, what the hell you look like? Tyler. Her voice cut through the gym like a blade. Clear, calm, terrifying. You should be in the hospital. He actually took a step back. That face needs 8 years. She walked onto the court. Each step measured. 8 years. I've been hiding what I can do. 8 years of being careful. Of being weak. Of letting people like you think you're dangerous. You're crazy, Tyler forced a laugh. But his teammates were backing away now, sensing something in the air. Coach will be back any minute. No, he won't. He's in his office on a conference call for another 20 minutes. Savannah had done her homework too, just enough time to finish our conversation. Look, about earlier. Jake started moving toward the exit. Stop! She didn't raise her voice, but Jake froze like he'd hit a wall. All 3 of you, right here, right now. You're insane if you think, Connor tried to project confidence, but his voice cracked. You know what's funny? Savannah rolled her neck, vertebrae popping. My dad made me promise to only use what he taught me if my life was in danger. For 8 years. I kept that promise. Through 17 schools, through hundreds of bullies, through everything. She was in the center of the court now, equidistant from all 3 of them. Other players had formed a circle, phones out, recording everything. But 2 hours ago, you tried to kill me. Her swollen eye focused on Tyler. So congratulations. You're about to find out what happens when you threaten the life of someone who's been trained to end lives. You're lying. Tyler's voice was thin now. You're just some Colorado State Youth MMA champion, 3 years running. She shifted her stance slightly, weight forward on the balls of her feet. Black belt in Shotokan Karate, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 4 years of Muay Thai, 3 years of Krav Maga, and that's just what I can remember off the top of my recently concussed head. The gym was dead silent except for the buzz of fluorescent lights. You're still lying, Tyler said, but he was backing up now. Want to find out? What happened next would be replayed on phones across Westfield for months. Some said it took a full minute. Others swore it was over in 30 seconds. The security footage, when it leaked, showed the truth 47 seconds from first movement to last body hitting the floor. Savannah moved like water given murderous intent. Tyler tried to run, but she crossed the distance between them in 3 strides. Her spinning heel kick caught him in the ribs with a crack that echoed through the gym. He doubled over, gasping, and her knee found his solar plexus, not the face. She wasn't trying to kill him, just educate him. Jake charged from the left, all 200 pounds of basketball player trying to tackle her. She pivoted, using his momentum against him, and suddenly he was airborne. The armbar takedown was textbook perfect. He hit the hardwood hard, her knee in his back. His arm twisted at an angle that made everyone wince. Tap out, she said calmly. What tap out? or I break it." Jake slapped the floor frantically. She released him and rolled to her feet just as Connor arrived. He threw a wild haymaker. Street fighting. No training. She slipped inside his reach, wrapped his arm, and hip threw him onto his back. The breath exploded from his lungs. Tyler was trying to crawl away. She grabbed his expensive jersey, hauling him to his feet. "Please, did I beg? When you held me down? When you shattered my nose?" She spun him around, looking into his terrified eyes. "Did I say please? I'm sorry." "No, you're scared. There's a difference." She released him, and he collapsed, cradling his ribs. "But you will be sorry. All of you will." Savannah stood in the center of the court, surrounded by 3 groaning bodies and 20 stunned witnesses. Blood still dripped from her nose. Her face was still a swollen mess, but she stood like a queen surveying her kingdom. "New rules," she announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Tyler Morrison is done terrorizing this school. Jake and Connor, too. If I hear about any of you bullying anyone, and I mean anyone, even a freshman who looked at you wrong, I'll finish what we started here." She crouched next to Tyler, who was trying not to cry from the pain in his ribs. "You picked the wrong girl, Tyler. You thought I was weak because I was quiet, because I was small, because I said no to you." She grabbed his jersey again, pulling him close enough to whisper, "I've been the wrong girl at 17 different schools, but you're the first one stupid enough to make me prove it." She stood, addressing the room one more time. "And if anyone thinks about retaliating, remember this: I held back. What you just saw, that was me being gentle. That was me not wanting to kill anyone. Push me again, and I won't be so charitable." The walk to the exit felt like it took forever. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 20 basketball players, some of them 6.5 feet tall, parted like the Red Sea as the 5'4" girl with the broken face walked through them. At the door, she turned back one last time. "Oh, and Tyler, your form was good on that knee strike, but you telegraphed it. Work on that." Then she was gone, leaving chaos in her wake. The video hit social media within minutes. By the time Savannah got home, it had already spread beyond Westfield High. "Small girl destroys 3 bullies" was trending locally. Comments poured in. Support, shock, disbelief, and overwhelming agreement that Tyler Morrison had it coming. Monday morning felt like entering a different universe. The hallways, usually filled with casual cruelty and careful hierarchies, had a different energy, quieter, more respectful. Savannah walked to her locker and found it cleaned, the slurs gone, replaced with a single sticky note: "Thank you." Tyler wasn't at school. Neither were Jake or Connor. Rumors said Tyler had 2 broken ribs, and his parents were threatening to sue until they saw the parking lot footage of the assault. Suddenly, the Morrison family wasn't so eager to involve lawyers. "That was incredible." Sarah Martinez appeared at her locker, eyes shining. "Stupid and dangerous and probably illegal, but incredible." "It was necessary," Savannah said simply. "You know this isn't over. Right, Tyler's dad is the mayor. His family owns half the town. And I'm the daughter of Staff Sergeant Marcus Brooks, who taught me that bullies only understand one language." She closed her locker. "I just became fluent." Principal Henderson called her in before first period. Savannah expected suspension, expulsion, maybe even arrest. Instead, she found the principal staring at her computer screen, watching the security footage for what looked like the 100th time. 47 seconds. the principal said without looking up. You took down 3 athletes in 47 seconds. They assaulted me first, 2 hours earlier in the parking lot. I know. We found that footage too. Principal Henderson finally looked at her, and her expression was unreadable. Tyler Morrison has been a problem at this school for 4 years. We've had 73 bullying complaints, 14 students transferred, 3 attempted suicides that we know were connected to his behavior. Savannah said nothing. But his father is the mayor. His family donates millions to the school, so we documented everything and did nothing. The principal leaned back in her chair. Until you. Am I expelled? Expelled? Henderson actually smiled. Miss Brooks, you just did what I've wanted to do for 4 years. You're not expelled, but I do have a request. What kind of request? Start a self-defense club. After school, teach other students what you know. The principal's eyes were serious now. What happened Friday showed me something. We've been protecting the wrong students. It's time that changed. By lunch, 43 girls had signed up for the self-defense club. By the end of the day, it was 67, including some boys who'd been Tyler's favorite targets over the years. Savannah stood in the gym after school, looking at the crowd of students who wanted to learn how to fight back. First rule, she announced, violence is always the last resort. But when someone tries to take your life, when the system fails you, when you have no other choice, you fight, and you fight to win. The transformation of Westfield High didn't happen overnight, but it happened. Tyler came back after a week, subdued and silent. He kept his head down, avoided eye contact with everyone, and quit the basketball team without their leader. Jake and Connor faded into the background. The culture of fear they'd cultivated for years evaporated like morning mist. A month later, Savannah got a video call from her father in Afghanistan. He'd heard about everything. Small-town gossip traveled even to war zones. You broke your promise, he said, but he was smiling. They broke my nose first. How do you feel? Savannah thought about it. For 8 years. She'd hidden who she was, pretended to be weak, let people walk all over her in the name of staying invisible. She'd kept her promise until keeping it nearly killed her. Free, she said finally. I feel free. Good. Her father's smile widened. Because I've got news. I'm coming home next month. And I think it's time we opened that martial arts school we always talked about. Here in Westfield. Why not? Seems like the town could use it. Savannah looked through her window at the Texas sunset, thinking about all the students who'd thanked her, all the kids who walked a little taller now that Tyler's reign was over, all the bullies in other schools who might think twice after seeing what happened here. Yeah, she said. I think you're right. 6 months later, Brooks Combat Academy opened its doors in downtown Westfield. The first student to sign up was Sarah Martinez. The second, surprisingly, was Tyler Morrison. Court-ordered anger management came in many forms, and learning discipline from the girl who'd humbled him seemed fitting. Savannah stood in her new GI, watching her students practice. Her nose healed but slightly crooked, a permanent reminder of the day she stopped hiding. On the wall behind her hung a banner with her father's words, "Violence is the last resort, but when your life is threatened, be the last one standing." She was done being invisible, done pretending to be weak, done letting bullies rule through fear. Savannah Brooks had finally come home, not to a place, but to herself. And Westfield High would never be the same. The girl who'd been knocked down in a parking lot had gotten back up. And sometimes, that's all the difference in the world. Years later, when documentaries were made about the bullying epidemic in American schools, they always mentioned Westfield High. Not as another tragic story, but as the place where everything changed. The place where one girl's refusal to stay down sparked a movement. Tyler Morrison went on to become a counselor, specializing in reforming bullies. "She saved my life," he would tell people. "Not from her fists, but from myself. I was on a path to becoming a monster. Savannah Brooks showed me there were consequences." Jake became a teacher. Connor joined the military. Both credited that 47 seconds in the gym with changing their trajectories. But the real legacy wasn't in the reformed bullies. It was in the hundreds of students who learned to stand up straight, to say no, to know they had the power to defend themselves. Every year, Brooks Combat Academy produced students who were physically capable, but more importantly, mentally strong. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is refuse to be weak. And sometimes, a broken nose is just the beginning of becoming unbreakable.